Well, what do you know, folks? We live. John Duffin here, Duffin Media. Welcome back to another episode, day 3 of my 5-day top communications tips blitz, fall 2025 edition. I am thrilled that you're here. So, folks, here's the fun part. If you're watching me live on Facebook, great to see you. I'm thrilled that you're here. Type a note in the comments. Just let me know 2 things. Who you are? Well, that'll already come up. But more importantly, where you're from. Why does that matter to me? Well, I'm newsy, first and foremost. But secondly, what I'm also is wildly curious in regards to the geography that we're covering over these few days, right? So if you're on Facebook, great. Welcome. Happy to have you. Happy to serve. And if you're on LinkedIn, that's perfect too. Drop a note in the comments. And I should be able to get your LinkedIn comments. I know I get my Facebook comments. And guess what? If you are watching me on YouTube, you are seeing me on YouTube Live. So I am thrilled that you are here with me today. What we do here, my coaching techniques, it is 3 bite-sized tips. That's what we're delivering today. 3 bite-sized tips, communications tips, sales related, revenue related, budgets related, presentation related, public speaking related. These tips can be used in any of those platforms. Sales, service, audience, podcast. That's what we get to do. The key is each one of these tips are proven. Each one of these techniques are successful. And also, the main thing, they're easy. They're easy. I could sit and make up the fact of how, oh my God, spent years creating formulas and beta testing. Here's what I know. You know where I spent those years testing and proving? Was in my broadcast, television, streaming, sales, and sales management career. And again, as I said, I'm seeing people come into play. That is great. If you are here, drop a note in the comments so I know that you're here. And that way I can acknowledge you properly. If you've got any questions, ask it. Feel free. I don't bring people on stage unless they volunteer to do so. I don't drag people on at that point. I don't think that's right. But wherever you are and whatever you're doing, great to have you aboard. So that's what we're doing. It's 3 top tips today. In, out, figuring at the 5 o'clock hour. If I'm out of here, if I get you out of here before 5:30, and I'm going to, gives you plenty of time. Listen, remember those old days when we used to work from 9 to 5? Me neither. Because even when I was told that's when I should be working, I was one of those weirdos that always worked way beyond, right? And then you hear the expressions work hard, not, or, work smart, not hard. Well, hopefully I did both. And that's what got me my success. But I was typically still getting after it at 5 o'clock. So if you happen to be in the office or you're making things happen, if you're an entrepreneur, you're driving revenue, you are leading teams, well, great to have you. So I'm going to do a 30-second recap in regards to yesterday, where we were talking in regards to connection. And I think the expression that I used, as I remember correctly, was slow your roll. And did you notice I slowed my voice down a little bit when I said it? Why? It was embracing some discomfort. So slow your roll meant if you were in a stressful money situation, whether it was sales presentation or business meeting or board meeting or what have you, that rather than race through a conversation or a presentation just so you can get to the other side of it, my technique was literally slow yourself down. If you need to, present less and say it more slowly. So that's the things that we were covering yesterday. And folks, those replays are still up on social media, and they're certainly up on YouTube. So go back if you want to watch them a second time, a third time. They're yours. That's the whole point. Today, what we're calling today is know your role. Apparently, I'm in the mood for roles, but here's what I was going to say that with the know your role, my thought is this. We talk about getting out and about, and this is the premise being we're all in essence that in that slightly or a lot pressured situation of we need to get things done. Summer's over, at least for a lot of us. And whether it's the kids being back to school or you feeling that reminder pressure of that back to school sense of I have to step up my pace, that you were under the impression that you've really got to fire off the blocks now. And the truth is, I did, and I'll bet you do. I'll ask. I'm raising my hand like I'm not gonna see you raise your hand, so ignore that. But what I was going to ask is how many of you out there are knowing or feeling the pressure right now? Anyone? Yeah, there you go. Exactly. So I feel it too. It's an inherent trait of mine that this time of year means it's time to deliver. And then you think about the ways that you can deliver. Now, obviously, the end result would be driving revenue or getting that promotion or new job or helping someone else in your organization get that promotion or making certain that you're keeping your seat at the boardroom table. So when I say know your role, there are very clear expectations. That first tip that I want to touch on real fast, know your role, has to literally do with what is expected of you now. First, for the remainder of the year, what needs to happen? And here's what I would say. If you're an entrepreneur, who out there, I'll ask, is running their own show, running their own company? I salute, by the way, my dear friend, family friend, Karen Crane. Way to go, Karen, on celebrating 30 years of leading an organization at Crane Communications, starting from nothing. And now is 30 years in with the team. And so she knows her role. Not only that, she helps her team, which keeps growing, know their role too. But if you're running your own organization or if you're a solopreneur, well, you still need to know your role. This is not the time to be figuring it out or making it up as you go along. What are you expected to do? And here's why. It's important for a lot of reasons. Like, I want you to take a moment, whether it's now or after this communication, and literally just jot down, because these are the things that are nagging at you the most. What has to happen? What has to change? What is expected from me? Has it been articulated, or is it something I just know? Jot it down. Don't worry about format. Don't worry about making it pretty, term paper pretty or whatever, right? Don't worry about your fonts or your keynote or whatever. Just jot it down. You know what you're expected to do now. Why? Often people are telling you. I'll give you an example. When I was in corporate and you get back and it's post-Labor Day, and it would be like you would hear one of your superiors say, "Oh, what are we going to do about fourth quarter?" And my thought was, I haven't dusted all the sand off me yet. I'm going to get to fourth quarter sometime in October or November. Yeah, I'm so kidding. I never did that. I was never that arrogant. I grew up as the Irish Catholic and paranoid type, so I was well on it. But I knew, hey, what are we doing about fourth quarter? You better move. Want to hear an exact example of know your role? Years and years and years ago, when I was leading a sales team. How's this for a specific example? I'm leading a sales team, and right before the end of the summer, I I had 3 salespeople at the time, and for one reason or other, they all left the organization. And there you go. There you have it. John Daskis knowing his role, embracing AI technology. Way to go, brother. And it looks and sounds great on you, man. Would have saved me a lot of headaches if I had had that back in the day, right? But my sales team left, literally left. So I remember we're at the end of the summer, and I had scheduled a vacation, and I was insanely paranoid about it, and I was feeling heat. Obviously, you can't have no salespeople, and then I'm going to be like flitting off for a vacation. So what did I do? Know my role in the communications process. Knowing your role is critical because you can act on it quickly, right? I scheduled 14 interviews for the Tuesday after Labor Day. 14. 9 o'clock, 9:30, 10 o'clock, 10:30, 11 o'clock, 11. They were on the half hour. So was it a busy, crazy day? Yes. Was I abundantly clear that I needed to have something happen and took action to do so? Yes, because I had all of the interviews scheduled. I knew I had to be really precise with my communications. So I fired off 14 interviews. What was the end result in terms of we wound up hiring 4 people as a result of that one-day conversation? Right? High batting average percentage, not just because we needed them, but because they were good. And it was because I was able to communicate in a clear, concise fashion. Why? Because I knew my role. Right? So if you're feeling pressure right now in regards to what am I supposed to be doing, I challenge you with this. You know what you're supposed to be doing. You know it. And I'll bet you could really get specific about it and fast. And then it's a question of, all right, so what are you going to do about it? And for me, in that example, find salespeople. Made the plan, paid a lot of money for Indeed or whatever it was, rifled through Indeed, had 14 interviews, hire 4 salespeople. Not only that, but my president and general manager, I had a lot of like a big glass office, so it was like a fishbowl, right? And every time she walked past, I was interviewing a different person, and I could see the big smile on her face that went from the panic of a week prior to a big smile on her face, seeing that we were taking decisive action, and as a result, the problem was solved. So that's why I say to you, that was my situation on that day. And I've had a lot of those pressure situations. But when you know the role, and we'll call it know the most important situation, you can sound really clear and really decisive when you know what it is. Don't hide from it. In fact, like I said, lean into it. What exactly is the problem here, and how am I? And then it's what can I do to fix this? And I'll bet you come up with an answer, because any answer is better than none. Guessing ain't going to work. And the way that you speak when you're clear and you're confident typically gets results. There's your first tip, right? Any questions on that? Love it. And folks, remember, any feedback, keep doing it. Like my man Johnny Daskis, like I said, any feedback, keep diving in. Drop me a comment. I'll know and I'll see it. And if I can jump on and answer you specifically, or at the very least acknowledge you specifically, I'm all in. So that to me feels great. Okay. The very next tip I want to bring up. We were talking about previously being out and about, networking, events, and that sort of thing. I want to come back to that general topic and become even more dialed in and specific in regards to knowing your role. Tip number 2, have a plan. Now, we talked about prior being comfortable enough to stand in a situation. not needing to rattle off a million factoids, whether you're doing a sales presentation or speaking on a stage. I'm grateful to say I've done that, or host up or guest on a podcast, or show up at an event. I had such a high degree of sensitivity in regards to those events. And the only way that I could make myself less sensitive, less unsure, is simply to lean in and dive in and show up. Speaking of showing up, Chad Naxon, oh my gosh, this just makes me happy. No, I'm not going to say one. My number one client, the best finance money guy, has helped me tremendously with his finance mortgage skills, but he's also a great guy too. He just is. And his energy, Chad's energy, is just unbelievably great. So if you are not following Chad Naxon, you really should be. You really should be. And so I'm going to go back to the matter at hand. Thank you for chiming in, Chad. I truly appreciate that. But here's what I was going to say. This intention and or plan and or simply coming into your space of that, not just knowing your role, but having the plan, right? It always helps to not just come in and hope for the best. What would you like to accomplish? Now, this sounds similar, by the way, to in turn of saying that sort of thing. What do I need to have happen, or what am I going to make happen? This is kind of similar. Don't kill yourself in the planning, but I really believe in my heart, rather than walking into a situation deer in headlights, have something you want to say, have something you'd like to say. Here's the beautiful part in the sense of having a plan when you're out and about. It really calms me, rather than guessing what people want and hoping that like things are going to work out. Very specific example and of what changed. I have been going to networking events for over 30 years. And not only the first several, maybe nervous, but a lot, if not all of them, get me keyed up prior to showing up. Now, the expectation, and it should be yours too, if you're trying to build a business, if you are trying to increase your business or elevate your status within an organization, you really should be out and about. Being just glued to a desk will never, ever, ever work. Oh my God, Meher, thank you so much for those kind words. I really appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that you enjoyed the videos, and I'm grateful that you chimed in. Thank you. The fact of the matter is, you got to get out. You got to talk to people. I just guested on a podcast today with my man, Jay Duran, the Culture Man. The best. So he's been kind enough to have invited me on his podcast, the Culture Matters podcast, 18 times. Can you imagine? This guy from Northeast Philadelphia has guested on somebody's podcast 18 times. And I'm telling you, that conversation from today, which is recorded and coming soon, has to do with collaboration. So that having a little bit of a plan, we were talking about a networking event that occurred. This was in real time 2 weeks ago, I believe, at the most 2 weeks ago. Bunch of business people that have the sense in common of being connected to Jay Duran, which is a privilege, by the way. And so I'm going, and I told you about the part that I used to be keyed up going to networking events and still am. I'm heading over to the event, which is fairly close to where I live. And the only thing I wanted to convey was, number one, a sense of authenticity. I didn't want to pepper people with factoids about me and all this and all that. Much love to you, buddy. Thank you, Chad, for that. You're an amazing friend yourself, man. So knowing and having a plan, what I did was literally what if I could talk to somebody? What would be a couple of things that have occurred that were relevant? And really, in that being your authentic self, the other part was, what could I ask of someone that could make them more comfortable? And I don't mean, can I get you a drink? Or can I get you some apps? Or, oh my God, your tie's amazing. I don't mean that. I mean, what would be something I could ask? So here's what I did in terms of that tip, having a little bit of a plan. I had an indication of who could be coming. And I do play favorites, by the way, which is what I would suggest to you, having a plan. Uh, I call the technique water the plants. And how it works in networking is look to see who you know. It's really easy to make someone you know more comfortable because you know them. So I'm fortunate because I said I was nervous going to events 30 years ago. So I've been doing it for 30 years. I get to a lot of them. I still get keyed up, but my nerves get removed the moment I'm inside of an event. Weird. It's just practice, uh, comfort, authenticity. And I find somebody that I know, and whether I ask them about their family, I mean an authentic question, not a surface puff question, or something I saw recently on social media or Googled or whatever the case may be. Folks, your intention does not need to be shoving your agenda down someone's throat. You want to get comfortable, you want to sound authentic, you want to make that time out and about productive, make somebody feel included. So the easiest way to begin the process, if you know someone, go to them. What does it do? When you go to someone, again, the plants, I'm watering the plants, go to the people that you know, make them comfortable because it's easier. Read their body language because it's easier. And then as you do that and you feel the energy that's going on, it's so easy to feel a change in energy, especially when you know somebody. But it works whether you know somebody or not. But start with somebody you know. And when you do, make them a little bit more comfortable. What does that do? It grounds you because it's really important. And here's tip number 3, to not just stay planted in your comfort zone and just talk to your pals, right? So use the leverage of the people that you know to make yourself comfortable. Yeah, man, I love it too. Thank you, Chad. I really do. I know that sounded vain saying that. I've just seen it work, and it really makes me happy. The third tip of the day: have a plan. Like I said, have a plan. And then your third tip of the day is get out of the comfort zone, get out of the sandbox, go talk to somebody new. Use the energy that's going on. I'm going to bring up the Jay Duran event again. So I felt lucky that I was included, right? We have something that I feel wildly grateful for. We get to communicate often, and it works. But I still feel privileged that Jay included me. So it was really important that I not waste time simply just talking to my friends, because that's an opportunity that's missed. Use the opportunity. Keep enhancing your relationship with the people that you know. That's not a user thing that I'm saying. It's to get yourself right. And then find somebody. Ask them questions if you can. Listen, you want a really easy one? Here's an easy question to sound authentic, curious, kind, and caring. Here's an easy one. I mean, it's the most basic. Here's your first one. So at that event, the conduit was Jay Duran, right? Easy. He's the one that was putting out the invitations. How do you know Jay? I've known Jay for 7 years. How do you know? How are you lucky enough to know Jay? And then let him talk. Let him talk. What happens at that point? What happens when you're speaking with someone for the first time and you're giving them the ability to air out a little bit? Because starting conversations with complete strangers or LinkedIn pals that you're meeting for the first time, and you just start hammering sales benefits and I work for so and so, and it's the largest and the best, and it just is that frenetic, weird energy, right? I keep bringing up energy. This specific event was crazy. It was in a big place, but it kept getting louder and louder and louder and louder. And here's what happens. What happens is this: energy. How you know an event's working? Often the room gets louder and louder and louder, right? And you might be thinking, well, maybe it's people just screaming at each other. Well, no. What's happening is people feel less encumbered. And that's how this goes. You make somebody feel more authentic, more true when you're speaking with them. How do you know Jay? Again, that's the technique. How do you know so and so? And then let them go. I guarantee you will get a legitimate follow-up question to ask them if you listen and you offer a question back based on what they said, not some factoid, right? So that agenda that I was talking about, be really careful, because so much of this is you want to get to know people. You want to build your base, and you want to build, again, obviously, the intention. I wanted to meet more people. I want to have more people that I can count on and rely on. You're the man. Thank you for that, Chad. Honest to God, I really appreciate that. You always come through for me, and that means a ton. So, folks, here's the deal. The energy, if you're at an event, if you're the nervous type, if you're the new type, if you're not feeling comfortable type, you may just duck and hide. I was tempted to do that often early in my career, and every once in a while, I'll share stories on another call in regards to where I almost wanted to run out a back door. But I, thank God, didn't make that choice. And again, you want to make somebody comfortable. You want to allow your own authenticity to add energy, add oxygen, so that you can feel the room 10xing or compound affecting or whatever the case may be. It's a beautiful thing. And what does that do, number one, for the people around you? Well, here's a suggestion. What does it do? It makes them feel comfortable enough to offer something to you, information, a question, a comment, and anything, which is what you want. Because as I learned, and I'll leave you with this today, which is simply this. I remember that first Philadelphia Ad Club event that I attended, 27 years ago. I'm a nervous wreck. God bless my two sisters. They are the consummate pros. And I brought up my friend Karen Crane, and they were all at this ad club event 100 years ago, or 27. And I was just breaking into the business. And they were the stars, right? Even back then. And they all had this circle of people around them. And I didn't know anybody. And I was literally feeling really uncomfortable. And I talked to a couple of people. I didn't just hover around my sister. I wanted each of my sisters had their own separate audience, big circles of people around them. And I'm like, let them do their thing. Let my friend Karen do her thing. And I talked to a couple of people. And each time I went back to either that event or another event, I built the momentum of remembering it's one person at a time that you do a relationship with. So, and each person expands the energy when you do it right. The last thing that I will add today, which is this. When you have a successful encounter with somebody at a networking event or at a sales presentation, or if you're invited anywhere and you meet somebody and your energy rises, and you know when it does, It is vitally important that you do something with that energy immediately. I mean, the moment you walk out the door, immediately do something. Get better information. Send thank yous, specific thank yous. When we talked about X, I was really, happy. I want to learn more. Specific. Make certain. Don't wait till tomorrow. Don't wait till next week or next month or the next time I see them, because you won't do it. The whole point of getting out and about and using your voice and using your authenticity and meeting people and pushing past the fears of not being able to communicate properly. The whole point is that you're able to do it better the next time, and then even better the next time, and even better the next time. And we can all improve. And that's what I'm saying in terms of optimizing your communications to improve your results, to generate sales. That's what we do here at Duffin Media, Duffin Coaching. It's exactly what we do. And so I say I work with a number of clients, colleagues, and I'm offering everyone this at this point. The easiest way to get at me is email me. I'm putting my email address right here in the comments, jd@duffinmedia.com. You either could do the following. In the comments of whatever social media platform you are enjoying this conference, hello, this coaching session, type in the word community. That will get you a 30-minute discovery call with me. Right now, I am offering a collective total of 10 complimentary 30-minute calls. That's through the whole 5 days, right? So the first 10 get a 30-minute complimentary call. I've already allocated 2 of the 10. I've got 8 remaining. So we're down to 8 more. Why not be you? Send me an email, jd@duffinmedia.com, or type the word community in the comments, or DM me. Heck, we'll make it easy for you. I get to customize for you how my systems work, how my techniques work, how we can literally laser focus you and your upcoming needs for the remainder of this year, getting yourself really true and right to finish strong and making yourself airtight for 2026. But right now, it's finishing the job in 2025. And that's what we're going to do. So we're going to break at this point today. That was way more than 3 tips, by the way. Tell you what, the one person, this is the winner of one person who identifies what my 3 tips were. Put them in the comments. And that person that drops in the comments what the 3 tips were, and again, there were more than 3. You just have to come up with 3. You get a 60-minute discovery call. We'll really make that tight for you in regards to systems and techniques and getting you on your way to have a hyper productive remainder of 2025. So with that, there's our marching orders. I'm thrilled that you showed up for me today. John Duffin, Duffin Media. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I promise you we'll be back with more. Have a great day, all. Be good. Bye.